Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Bilk. In today's episode, you are going to be following me around the Silverstone Grand Prix track in my Ginetta G56 GTA race car. This is VBox footage, which is the telemetry recorder and the data recorder that's in my race car. This lap was taken, wow, a good few months ago now, and if I'm honest with you, I'm pretty sure that by this point I could probably do a bit better. It's been 6 months on, this is my rookie season, but the principles will still be the same, the braking points, the turn-in zones, all of that sort of thing. So, we're heading down Hamilton Straight, straight towards Abbey. Now, just as we go under the Silverstone Bridge, I'll stop it there and explain how we're going to set things up for Abbey. So you've come out of the club corner onto the main straight. Hamilton Straight is a flat out straight, as you can imagine, onto the left-hand side of the circuit to line yourself up nicely for Abbey. Now, Abbey is actually a very fast-paced right-hander. What you're going to find in your Ginetta G56 GTA is that by the time you get to the rumble strips, you are actually going to be on the limits of sixth gear. I would advise that you don't change up to sixth gear. You actually let the car run through on the reds in fifth. But then when you put your brake down, when you actually start braking in the braking zone, it becomes a choice of how fast you're actually going as to whether you drop it down to fourth or not. So what we're looking for here at Abbey is to get across that rumble strip as far as you possibly can. Get the left-hand side of the car moving over that rumble strip. It will feel slightly unsettled, but the car can handle it. And then just before the grass ends on the left-hand side, you're going to want to be doing a soft squeeze on the brakes, which will allow the nose of the car to take a lot of load and weight, which will also give the opportunity to drop down to fourth gear. And then you'll be able to start bringing the car across. Now, what I would say is because of the aerodynamics on the car, on this car, on the Ginetta G56 GTA, it's actually very easy for you to just do a very hard stab at the steering wheel to the right-hand side to get that car to move across, and it will go and it will grip. So as you see, the car runs through, you'll hear that tyre squeal, and that tyre squeal just means that you're getting understeer. Now, from that point of view, that means you're going the right speed. Understeer in these Ginetta G56 GTAs is very common and it's perfectly normal. You might panic that it's going to leave you unsettled, but actually in this particular corner on Abbey, the car handles it very well. Now, as soon as you get to that apex on the inside on the right, you want to be hard back on the gas. So you stamp on that gas pedal, even though the steering wheel is completely turned to the right. It will still hold the grip, it will still hold the aero, will hold you on the track, and you'll be able to push forward towards the left-hander coming up, which is Farm Curve. Now, as you see the rumble strip start on the left-hand side as you're heading towards Farm Curve, you actually get a bit of a sort of grass patch as well. Now, you don't want to be as far across as the grass itself, but it's certainly okay to touch some of that rumble strip. And if you get it right, you won't end up heading wide into the middle of the track after Farm Curve. It looks like in this lap, I actually did head too far wide and I didn't get the corner perfectly right. So I could have had a faster lap here. You want to bring the car back over to the left-hand side, and to be honest, contrary to what's in this hot lap video, again, I've said I'm already too far to the right-hand side. You want the car to be over to the left, you want to be on those rumble strips, and you want to use the start of the rumble strips as your braking zone, and you want to be hard on those brakes. You want to be testing your car, pressing so hard on the brakes until you lock up, and then you dial it back by one. Leave it as late as possible before you turn in to Village Corner onto the right-hand side. You need to be keeping the weight on the front of the nose of the car under the braking, but before you start turning that wheel, release the brake. And I don't mean off, because you will just spin. Release the brake, slightly, take the pressure off a bit, settle the car back down, get the rear to squat a bit more, and that will hold you that four-wheel round grip so that you can get that tight right-hander into Village Corner. And you want to be coming around the back of the apex. I'm just avoiding a Lotus here, but you want to be getting around the back of that apex at Village and then heading back across to the right-hand side of the track, but not all the way. My driving instructor has told me to stay in the middle half of the track. So if you imagine the sort of the track possibly even split into thirds, try and stay in the middle third, but keep to the right-hand side of that middle third to line you up for the left-handed hairpin straight after at the loop. And what you will find is coming out of Village, you'll have a small amount of time to squirt the throttle to get a bit of speed before the left-hander of the loop. When you get to the loop, you'll find that the car is very squirrely under braking. The nose will be down, the rears will be loose. So what you need to do again is similar to Village, you lift off the brakes very slightly and that will bring you round nicely and you'll be able to touch that apex. Now what you want to be doing is touching the apex after the sausage curb. You want to be getting round the back of the corner. You don't want to cut it across the middle. That means you're going to get a bad exit heading towards Aintree. So you want to get round the back of that curb and make sure that you can allow the car to be in as straight a line as possible to set you heading left or opening the car up, as the expression goes, opening the wheel so that you're relaxing the pressure, the lateral pressure on the tyres to get as much speed out of them heading forwards. Head out to those rumble strips on the right hand side. As you prepare for Aintree, you are flat out. And the first time you do it, if you've never driven the G56 GTA before, the first time you do it, it will be a little bit scary because you'll be flat out and you'll just be about to touch a curb on the left-hand side and you will think that is going to spin you. And perhaps in a road car with no aero, it might spin you. But be brave, be confident. The aero that is running over the car is enough to hold you on the track, even if you clip the curb. Go, clipping that curb unsettles the car, but it holds it, and you let the car run as wide as possible. Now I experienced a bit of traffic here. I got a Ginetta G40 that's a bit slower in front of me, so stay to the right hand side. As you go under the bridge, you are starting to prepare and eyeball your braking zone. Now the braking zone for the famous corner in front of the British Racing Drivers Club, or the BRDC, is known as Brooklands. Brooklands is a high-speed left-hander and it is a complicated corner. You want to be braking as late as possible, but you also want to make sure that you're not overcooking it because you will spin the car, especially on these road tyres that the GTAs run on. So we're looking really for a braking point that is just after the rumble strips start on the right-hand side. By the time you've actually got to the left-hand turn notice board, that would be way too late. So you want to brake a little bit before that and a little bit after the start of the rumble strips. Now when I've put the brakes on there, I am hard on the brakes, as hard as I can possibly be. But straight away, I need to trail them in. I need to lift off. I need to loosen it off. So what I need to be doing is eyeballing the left-hand side and keeping the left-hand side of my sight line focused on the apex for Brooklands to set me up for Luffield. So as the car runs towards the grass on the left-hand side, you'll start to see the green beyond the curbs. And what you're looking for is two sausage curbs on your left-hand side. What you want to be aiming for is the second red sausage curb. That's the one that's going to make sure you've got around the back of the corner correctly so that you can then push on with a little squirt towards Luffield, which will give you a little bit of speed to head into the corner. You'll run wide and you'll head out to the rumble strips on the right-hand side. Now what you want to be doing is getting your car level with those rumble strips, and then at the last minute you turn in after the red on the right-hand side sausage curb. You want to just get the nose of the car pointing very slightly into the turn before you apply the brakes. But what you definitely don't want to be doing is braking while turning, because it will unsettle the car. At that point, it almost could be considered that you've hit the first apex. And what you then need to do is let the car run out and wide and stay off the gas. Contrary to what I've done in the video here, I've been touching the gas all the way around this corner, and what you should be doing is lifting off the gas completely until you can see your exit point heading towards Woodcote. When you see that exit, you can floor the throttle, and that means that you'll hit your second apex on the inside of the right-hand side of the corner. Let the car run wide all the way out to the rumble strips, but avoid that gravel. And then really you are flat out all the way through Woodcote. The aero will hold you on the track even if you touch the curbs on the inside, and then you want to make sure you touch those curbs, the rumble strips on the left-hand side, heading under the bridge onto the old pit straight. You are flat out towards what's known as Copse. Now Copse is an extremely high-speed corner. It's also the corner made famous by Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton's coming together in 2021. What we need to be doing is getting onto the rumble strips onto the left-hand side as much as we possibly can without touching the grass, because it will affect your braking. As soon as we see the board on the left-hand side, you want to be softly squeezing the brakes. This is not a hard stab, this is a soft, gentle squeeze, almost as if you're braking in the rain and you don't want to lock up the wheels unnecessarily. You're dropping down one gear into fourth, and then you're aiming to hit the apex on the inside right very, very gently. Do not do not, and I cannot stress this enough, do not go over the red sausage curbs on the inside right of Copse Corner. You will smash your car to pieces, as I unfortunately found out earlier on this year. I did wheel bearings, I smashed a suspension, I cracked wheels. It was an absolute nightmare, so do not do that. Make sure you stay on the rumble strip, but don't go beyond on towards the grass, because you'll hit them sausage curbs and smash your car to pieces. As you head back out at the end of the corner, you can head towards the green zone. Now, the green zone really should be classed as beyond track limits. However, in pretty much every racer has gone beyond those rumble strips and carried as much speed as possible, heading you towards the famous and very fun Maggotts and Becketts complex. Now, as you head towards Maggotts and Becketts, you want to hang to the right-hand side for as long as you possibly can, but you want to wait until the rumble strips have started before you begin turning into the left. Do not brake. Do not brake at all on your left-hand turn in. There is no need to do it. The car can handle it. What you need to do is bring that speed in, and some people again will change up to 6th gear here from 5th. I actually let the car run through in 5th, which means there's less down changes and less gear changes to drop down into the Maggotts and Becketts complex, keeping the car nice and stable. As you head towards the sausage curb on the left-hand side, which is the setup for Maggotts, you need to stay off the sausage curb, but you want to be all the way across the rumble strip, which is the black and white. You want to squeeze the brakes very gently here, but not a lot at all, and you drop yourself down 1 gear before you set up the right-hander at Maggotts. You let the car coast gently on the brakes, and then you make sure you go all the way across as much of the rumble strip as you can on the right-hand side, possibly even onto the green. The sausage curves on the red and the green are incredibly forgiving here, which allows you a lot more speed to be able to carry through. As soon as you touch those curbs on the right-hand side, you want to be full gas. Quick squirt before you've got to brake again towards the left-hander heading you towards Becketts. Now, what you want to do at this point is you are braking while turning. So you want to be careful, and you don't want to stab the brakes, otherwise the back end of the car will come round on you, but you certainly can squeeze them quite hard. You drop the car down to 3rd, and then you find and you search for that green patch of tarmac on the inside of the curb. That is where you want to start heading over the top of that curb, rather than trying to get round it. So you cut right over the top past the red and the greens. Then we're heading towards Becketts. Now, I've positioned myself incorrectly for the lineup for Becketts and Chapel Curb here. I'm far too far over to the right. I need to be much further to the left because I've compromised my exit. But generally, you'll get yourself as far to the left as you possibly can, keep it in 3rd gear, and then possibly not really drop down in terms of braking or put any squeezing on the brakes unless it's absolutely necessary to get you around the back of that curb line. Touch the curb line, and then as soon as you touch that curb, you are on the gas heading towards the exit at Chapel Curve. Now, if I'd have got that correct, I would have been all the way over those curbs on the left-hand side on the exit heading down towards Hanger Straight. But it's stay flat, stay confident all the way through. So the car will push to the right-hand side. Gradually, as the bridge comes towards you, you can start all the way down the straight, gradually, bit by bit, moving to the left-hand side for an incredibly fast-paced corner coming up. Before you start the braking zone for Stow Corner, be prepared that it will shock you how responsive the brakes are at this point in your Ginetta G56 GTA. You can brake as late as the gravel, or possibly even beyond, and still get round the corner absolutely fine. I see so many people who are braking way before the grass ends on the left-hand side. They're braking at the turn board. It's way too early. The car can handle it. So you wait all the way until you've gone past the gravel before you stamp on the brakes, but you really are stamping on them hard. And you're going from 6th gear down to 4th very quickly. You want to be braking as hard as you possibly can from 6th to 4th, and then staying left for as long as you possibly can. You want to stay left until you almost get to the end of the rumble strip, which is on the left-hand side. When you start getting towards the end of the rumble strip, that is when you can begin turning in. And this is a gradual turn. This isn't a stab at the steering wheel. This isn't you're not wrenching the wheel to the right-hand side. You're gradually turning in, and also you are trailing off the brakes. At this point, before you start turning, you want to lift off the brakes to carry as much speed through here as possible. Once you carry the speed through, you'll hear the tyres. They're absolutely being tortured. They're really on the limits of what they can do. We're doing 120 kilometres an hour and we're almost on full right lock. So from that point of view, the tyres are absolutely tortured, but it is all understeer. Again, the aero on the back of the car is holding that back end down, so you will not get that wiggle under braking that you'd normally expect at a slightly lower speed corner. When you touch that apex, wait. Do not get on the gas too early because it will push you wide for the exit. You just hang on until you see the final red sausage curve, then you can get on the gas. As soon as you've got on the gas, it will push you, and the left-hand side exit heading towards Vale will actually come up on you faster than you expect, which is why I say wait. It's very easy to go beyond track limits here by accident if you just get on the gas a little bit too early coming through Stow. So as we've touched the rumble strips on the exit, we're hard on the brakes all the way down. You can see the big fancy new pit wing heading towards you. You want to be preparing yourself for a tabletop braking point at Vale. Now I've got, unfortunately, a Caterham just in front of me, so I've braked way too early. In a Ginetta G56 GTA, you want to be braking as those rumble strips appear on the right-hand side, or possibly a little bit before, depending on how brave you are and the conditions on the day. And also, you want to be staying as far to the right-hand side over those rumble strips as you possibly can. You're dropping all the way down from 5th gear down to 2nd, so you're down a lot of gears here. And from that point of view, you need to make sure that you are staying on the brakes as you're braking down, because these Quaife gearboxes do not respond very well if you start loosing off the gears and loosing off the brakes and trying to go down the gears at the same time. You want to be going in to the left-hander at Vale very late. You want to really come round the back of that corner, not cut across the front of it. There is a huge sausage curb on the inside, so do not hit that sausage curb. Unfortunately, it seems that somebody in another G56 GTA has spun off in front of me, so the lines through here are not going to be correct because I'm avoiding them. And you can see the Caterham is in front of me as well. However, what I would say is you want to stay to the left-hand side after the left-hander at Vale as much as possible to line you up for the right-hander to get the accelerator down to squirt you and push you out forwards towards Club Corner. I've missed my apex on the right-hand side of the Vale complex here. Way too much, but that is because I'm actually planning to line myself up to get round the left-hand side of this Caterham that's in front of me. You, if you're doing your fastest laps, you need to be clipping this curb round the back, just towards the edge of that sausage curb, that red sausage curb that appears, and you can get on the gas and you can flatten that pedal. It will feel like it's about to spin, and you're more than likely going to be right over the left-hand side rumble strips, possibly even beyond. Your left wheels might go onto the green. That's absolutely fine. The car will handle it. You can stay flat. And be brave and stay flat out all the way through. You're going through 3rd gear, 4th gear, before you get round back onto the Hamilton straight through Club. And then again, by the time you get down Hamilton Straight, you're lining yourself up for that first fast-paced corner at Abbey. So what we're going to do is we're going to play the lap one more time in full without any commentary from me and without any breaks, so you can get to see how linking all these corners together really works. If you have enjoyed the video, please do give us a like, we really appreciate it. And of course, do not hesitate to subscribe to the channel to get more racing content from me, Ed Akers, and my journey to becoming a racing driver.